Hello students, I welcome you all at this virtual session organized by Raya Shikshan Samstha Sadguru Gadge Maharaj College Karaj. I am Dr. Ashwini Tatude, working as Assistant Professor in English. Today, I would like to discuss William Wordsworth's famous poem, The Solitary Reaper, which is prescribed for the fourth semester of BA Part 1. Do you know guys who is William Wordsworth? William Wordsworth is one of the major romantic poets. He was born in Cumberland, England on 7th of April 1770. Okay, so when he was just 8 years old, his mother died, and that experience shaped much of his later works. William Wordsworth's father was a lawyer, and he encouraged William to read books and even use his library. Unfortunately, his father even died when young William was 13 years old, leaving him and his 4 siblings orphan. Let us see now his literary contribution. As I told you, he is one of the major romantic poets. So, what are the characteristics of romantic poetry? Romantic poetry highlighted natural themes, or they focus on nature, poor people, children, common lifestyle and rustic language. His poems like I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, To the Cuckoo, The Prelude and The Solitary Reaper are famous to his credit. William Wordsworth basically focused on the nature, and he tries to see God in nature. So he finds friend, philosopher and even guide in the nature, while other younger romantics like John Keats and P.B. Shelley are there. So P.B. Shelley found love in the nature, while John Keats found beauty in the nature. Okay, so William Wordsworth along with Samuel Taylor Coleridge published the lyrical ballads in 1798, and that book launched Romantic era in English literature. Okay, let us turn to the poem itself. The Solitary Reaper. Here, the title, The Solitary Reaper, you know what is the meaning of the word solitary. Solitary means alone or lonely. Okay, and reaper is a person who hurts and binds grain. Okay, so it is about a person who is cutting and binding grains in the field. Okay, so this is the title of the poem. It is a form of lyrical ballad. So what is the ballad? Ballad is a song which narrates short story. Okay, so here in the poem we have a story of a young girl who is reaping and cutting grain in her field. Okay, so let us turn to the poem itself. Poet starts his poem saying, "Behold her." Okay, behold her, single in the field, yon solitary highland lash, reaping and singing by herself. Stop here or gently pass. Alone she cuts and binds the grain and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the veil profound is overflowing with the sound. See, poet starts his poem with the word behold her. Here, the word behold means look at her or see her. Okay, look at her or see her. She is single in the field. Okay, she is single where? In the field. In the first line we get that here the person who is reaping and singing, that is the person is a lady. Okay, and she is a single where she is in the field. Yon solitary highland lash. Here the word yon means that solitary highland lash. I told you already the meaning of the solitary. alone or lonely. Highland Lash. Highland means the person who resides on the hilly area of mountain. Okay, so yes, it's a mountain. Girl. Lash means girl. Okay, so in the very first two lines we get the idea that poet is talking about a girl who is residing in the hilly mountain area, and right now she is single in the field. Okay, so behold her single in the field, yon solitary highland lash, reaping and singing by herself. What she is doing in the field? She is reaping and she is singing a song by herself. There is nobody with her, so she is singing with herself. Poet says for the stop here or gently pass. Poet says to whom? To the travelers who are traveling through that area. Poet is saying to the people who are traveling along with them, he says, stop here or gently pass. You may stop here and enjoy the music of the girl, or you may go ahead, but don't disturb her. As she is singing and she is working in the field, you just don't disturb her. You may stop here and you may enjoy the music, or if you prefer to go ahead, then pass slowly, plus pass gently. Okay, so poet expects that nobody should disturb that girl who is working in the field. Okay, alone she cuts and binds the grain. What she is doing there? She is cutting and binding the grain. Okay, means she is harvesting that and sings a melancholy strain. Which type of song she is singing? She is singing melancholy song. Strain means song. Melancholy means very sad. Okay, so she is singing very sad song. Oh, listen, for the veil profound is overflowing with the sound. Poet says that alone she cuts and binds the grain. See, at the third time poet underlined the fact she is all alone. She is alone that field singing and doing her task. So, in the very first line we get here, she is a singer in the field. Then poet says that solitary highland lash. Here again in the second line he emphasized that she is all alone in the field. Okay, and at the third time we get in the first stanza that girl is alone and she is cutting and binding the grain. Okay, so three times or thrice in the first stanza poet has emphasized loneliness of that girl, and that creates pathetic situation. Okay, so the first stanza ends with setting the scene of the poem. Okay, I hope you have understood these lines. Okay, so oh listen, poet says listen, for the veil profound. Veil means here valley. Okay, veil means valley. Profound means deep. Okay, so that deep valley is overflowing with the sound, means the deep valley even has been filled with the music of that girl. Okay, so poet asks the people, poet maybe here asking to the reader to experience this. Poet is asking here his companion who are traveling along with him to enjoy the song and to listen that song. The whole valley, as the whole valley is overflowing with the sound, means the whole valley is filled with that girl's sound. Okay, I hope that you understood this first stanza of the poem. We get here 8 lines. Okay, so we have 4 stanzas in the poet, each in 8 lines. So this is the composition of 32 lines. Okay, so poem is a composition of 32 lines. I hope you understood this first stanza. Now let us turn to the second stanza. Okay, so in the first stanza we got the scene of the poem, what the poet is actually talking about. Poet is here talking about a girl who is mountainous girl who is residing in hilly mountain area, and what that girl is doing, that girl is walking in the field all alone, as there is nobody with her. She is walking alone and she is singing with herself. Okay, and poet says that poet listens the song and poet enjoys the song, and poet asks even his companions or to the readers that you may stop here or you may go ahead, but just don't disturb her. Okay, and the whole valley is overflowing with that song, with that music. what poet says in the second stanza, let us see. Poet says, no nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands of travelers in some shady horn among Arabian sands. A voice so thrilling never was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest hebrides. Okay, so poet here is talking about two birds, that are nightingale and cuckoo bird. Okay, what poet is saying here? Let us see. No nightingale did ever chant. Chant means sing. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands. Weary means tired. Tired or very tired. Bands means group of people. Okay, so what poet says here? No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands of travelers in some shady haunt among Arabian sands. So no nightingale did ever sing such a beautiful song like that girl. Okay, and nightingale sound is like that nightingale sings as if she is welcoming to some of the very tired group of travelers in some shady haunt. Shady means having a shadow. Okay. Haunt means a place which we like to visit again and again. So we may say that visiting place among Arabian sand. Yeah, in that Arabian sand. See, it's a group of travelers. That group of travelers is traveling, and that group of travelers is a very tired one. And nightingale's song may soothe their mind. In the way poet compares that girl's song with the song of the nightingale, which sings to welcome, as if to welcome the very tired group of travelers among that Arabian sands. Okay, a voice so thrilling never was heard. A voice so thrilling never was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird. Cuckoo bird is also famous for its singing, and cuckoo bird sings especially in springtime. Okay, and poet says that a voice, such a so thrilling voice, was never heard from not from even cuckoo bird. Okay, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest hebrides. Okay, so see, breaking the word that sound does, that cuckoo's sound breaks the silence of the seas among the farthest of Hebrides. Hebrides is a group of island of west coast of Scotland. So we get that poem is set in the Scottish area. Okay, so this is the second stanza having same 8 lines. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands of travelers in some shady haunt among Arabian sands. A voice so thrilling was never heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Okay, so in this stanza, poet compares that girl's song with two birds, namely nightingale and the cuckoo. Okay, which these two birds are famous or well known for their singing. And the girl's song, poet feels that it is more melodious, more beautiful, more enchanting than even nightingale and even cuckoo. Okay, so I hope you understood this second stanza. So the second stanza gives us comparison of two birds, and poet compares that girl song with nightingale and cuckoo. In the third stanza, let us see what poet says. Will no one tell me what she sings? Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the painted numbers flow for old unfree for of things and battles long ago. Or is it some humble lay, familiar matter of today, some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been and may be again? Okay, see the third stanza in very first line, poet raises one question. Will no one tell me what she sings? Here, poet is unable to understand the language of that girl, and so poet is unable to get meaning of that song. Okay, and so poet asks, will no one tell me what she sings? There is nobody who can tell me actually what she is singing about. And then poet imagines that perhaps, he thinks that perhaps it is about the painted numbers flow for old unhappy far off things and battles long ago. It's poet's imagination. Poet tries to guess what the girl actually is singing about, and he says further that perhaps the painted number, painted means very sad. Okay, so perhaps she is singing about some sad things and painted numbers. Okay, painted numbers means sad memories. Okay, and maybe the sad memories are flowing, flowing through her mind like a stream. Okay, and she is perhaps singing about the sad memories of her life. And further poet says, for old unhappy far off things. Far off means past things. See, for old, some of the old unhappy means very sad, and far off things means related to the past happenings which are unpleasant one, and that girl might be singing here about such as sad memories and battles long ago, or perhaps she is singing here about a person who may be lost in the battle. Okay, so it is about, maybe about some of the loss of the dear and near one. Okay, so it is poet's imagination, as poet didn't get the meaning of the girl song, because girl is singing in that local dialect that is known as Gaelic dialect. Okay, so it is Gaelic dialect, which is Scottish dialect, and girl is singing in that Gaelic dialect, which is unfamiliar to poet, and so poet is unable to understand, a poet is unable to grasp the meaning of the girl's song, and so he imagines that she may be singing about some of the past memories, some of the painful things in her life which happened, or she may be here singing about loss of a person, might be a dear and near one to her, and that maybe that person lost or died in the battle. Okay, and battles long ago. Or is it some more humbly? Is it some more humbly? More humbly means ordinary song. Ordinary song. Okay, or perhaps she is singing about daily things, means ordinary things, or familiar matter of today, day-to-day happenings. Here poet imagines that she might be singing about some past unhappy things, sad memories, or loss of somebody who was near and dear to her, or is it some humbling, or it might be related to ordinary things, daily life things, okay, and familiar matter of today. It might be related to that, some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been and maybe again. So she is singing, perhaps she is singing about some of the natural sorrow, loss or pain which she has been experiencing in her life, and that might be she is singing there. So the third stanza is about the poet's imagination. Poet tries to understand the meaning of the song, but he didn't get the meaning of the song, as the girl is singing in a different dialect which is unfamiliar to the poem. So third stanza gives us content of that girl's song. Poet here tries to analyze that girl's song, and so it offers us, it is about content of that girl's song. Okay, let us, I hope you understood this. Let us move to the last and the fourth stanza. Let me begin the fourth stanza. Whatever the theme the maiden sang, as if her song could have no ending, I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. I listened motionless and still, and as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore, long after it was heard no more. Okay, so this is the last stanza of our poem. In the third stanza, poet tries to guess the meaning of that girl's song, tries to understand what the girl actually is singing all about. But poet, we saw that poet has failed to understand the meaning of the girl's song, and so he starts the four sanga saying that whatever the theme the maiden sang, whatever the theme it might have, let it be. It doesn't matter to the poet what actually the girl is singing about. And so he starts the four sanga saying, whatever the theme, whatever, let it be, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. The maiden sang, maiden means girl. Okay, so whatever the theme, the maiden sang, as if her song could have no ending. Let it be, let it be, let it be, whatever the topics she sang about. Theme means, you know, the topic. So, whatever topics she might be talking about in her poem, let it be, doesn't matter. What matters more? Her song could have no ending. The song has no ending. It means the song has no ending means it's everlasting song. Okay, so poet says and praises the song, that song of that girl, saying whatever theme it might have, what is most important thing, that song is everlasting. That song has no ending. Okay, I saw her singing at her work, and over the sickle bending, I listened motionless and still. Poet says what matters most, that I saw her singing at her work. While working she was singing, and I got that opportunity to saw the girl and to listen her music. That matters most to him. Okay, and over the sickle bending, sickle means, sickle is an agricultural tool. Okay, which generally used in farm to cut the crops like grain or corn. Okay, so it is short handed tool shaped like hook. Okay, so poet says I saw her singing at her work, and over the sickle bending I listened motionless and still. Poet stopped there. Poet tried to listen the whole song, complete song. He was motionless and still. Okay, so the song was enchanting one, and poet enjoyed the song completely. And so he says in the next stanza that whatever theme it might have, whatever the topic it might have, subject it might have, it doesn't matter to the speaker, as the song has created everlasting impact. It seems that it has no ending, means it is everlasting song. And what matters most to the poet, that he has got opportunity to see that girl, to watch that girl walking in the field, and even singing a song. See what the poet says, and as I mounted up the hill, mounted means to climb. Okay, so poet says, as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore is a past form of the bear means to carry. Okay, what poet says, as I mounted up the hill, as I climbed the hill, as I started my further journey, the music in my heart I bore. That music which he heard, that song which he heard, okay, that is there in his heart when he climbed up the mountain. Long after it was heard no more. Even he right now is unable to listen the song is completed, but poet says that that song has created long lasting impact. Okay, so he carries that song in his heart, and long after it was heard no more. Years have passed, some days have and months have passed, but the impact of the song is there upon the poet's mind. Okay, so here we get that song has created long lasting impact in poet's mind. And here poet talks about the beauty of that song. It's an enchanting one, it's an everlasting one. It is, we also discussed that it is more melodious than nightingale and even cuckoo bird. Okay, and such a beautiful song he heard while traveling through that area, and poet is trying to share his own experience with us all. Okay, so this is the end of the poem, where poet says that that song has created everlasting impact upon my mind, and I have that song in my mind, and it will please me forever. So the central idea of the poem is that our daily in our daily life, small incidents, small experience may give us long life pleasure. Okay, so it is about this beauty of our life. Okay, friends, I feel that you have understood the poem. You need to read it once again and try to understand the poem. Okay, Wordsworth got the opportunity to hear the song of that girl, so he is even fortunate enough to see that girl in the field, working in the field and singing a song, and he is fortunate enough to get that music of the girl. But here we are not that much fortunate to actually listen the girl's song, but I feel we are blessed to have William Wordsworth this poem, The Solitary Reaper, which is even beautiful, more melodious, everlasting, and even enchanting one. Okay, so I expect that you should also enjoy the beauty of William Wordsworth's this present song. Okay, so at home read the poem, try to analyze the poem, and write summary in your notebook. Okay, so thanks a lot for your kind attention. Thank you.